In a bold move that has ignited significant debate, environmental organizations have initiated legal action against the Trump administration, alleging the creation of a secret report authored by individuals known for their skepticism regarding climate science. This lawsuit, filed recently, underscores a growing concern about the administration's approach to climate research and policy. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, is currently in the process of dismantling the Endangerment Finding, a crucial scientific assessment established in 2009 that identified carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases as threats to public health, thus allowing for regulation under the Clean Air Act. In a controversial twist, the Department of Energy, DOE, has released a new review that appears to support the EPA's efforts to roll back these regulations. This review, titled A Critical Review of Impacts of Greenhouse Gas Emissions on the U.S. Climate, was produced by a group of 5 climate scientists selected by Energy Secretary Chris Wright, who has faced criticism for his ties to the fossil fuel industry and his views on climate change. Critics argue that this report was developed in secrecy, with no public announcement of its inception, and that it reflects the biases of its authors, who are often labeled as climate contrarians. Rachel Cletus, a senior policy director at the Union of Concerned Scientists, expressed her discontent, stating, "The secret report was produced by a set of known climate contrarians, who were commissioned to write this report that's full of inaccuracies. It's clearly geared towards trying to give the EPA a way to evade its legal responsibility to address the health harms of heat-trapping emissions and climate change." A report, which was finalized in a remarkably short time frame, claims that the economic impacts of carbon-driven warming may be overstated and suggests that U.S. climate policies would have minimal effect on global climate change, and controversially attributes some warming to natural climate cycles rather than human activity, and downplays the acceleration of sea level rise, contradicting a vast body of scientific evidence. Additionally, it posits that increased carbon dioxide levels could benefit plant growth, a claim that has raised eyebrows among many in the scientific community. Phil Duffy, a climate scientist and former advisor in the Biden and Obama administrations, criticized the report for presenting a skewed and incomplete view of climate change's effects on the United States. He noted that the report selectively uses evidence and misrepresents peer-reviewed studies, ignoring the overwhelming consensus that human actions are driving dangerous climate changes. Numerous climate advocacy groups and researchers have conducted their own analyses of the report, identifying over 100 instances of misleading or false claims made by its authors. In response to the backlash, the DOE referred to Secretary Wright's assertion in the report's preface, where he emphasized the panel's rigor and honesty. However, critics like Ben Santer, a climate researcher, argue that the report serves a political agenda rather than scientific integrity, claiming that it misrepresents his own research to support its conclusions. The controversy deepens when considering the backgrounds of the report's authors, who are known for their dissenting views on climate science, often contradicting the established scientific consensus. Vicky Patton, general counsel at the Environmental Defense Fund, pointed out that the individuals selected by Secretary Wright represent a small faction that disputes the extensive scientific evidence regarding climate change. Energy Secretary Chris Wright, who has a history in the oil and gas sector, has publicly stated his belief that climate change is a byproduct of progress, arguing that while it is a real issue, it should not overshadow the need for affordable and reliable energy. His comments have raised alarms among scientists who fear that the administration may attempt to revise or censor critical climate research, including the National Climate Assessment, which typically involves years of collaborative work by hundreds of scientists. In a significant legal development, the Environmental Defense Fund and the Union of Concerned Scientists have filed a lawsuit against the EPA and the DOE, claiming that their actions violate the Federal Advisory Committee Act, which mandates transparency and balanced representation in government advisory panels. The lawsuit contends that the Climate Working Group was formed in secrecy, with its findings withheld from public scrutiny, and that the EPA has extensively cited this report to justify its decision to repeal the endangerment finding. The organizations are seeking a judicial order to prevent the government from utilizing the report in violation of transparency laws. When approached for comment regarding the lawsuit, the EPA declined to provide details, citing a policy of not discussing ongoing litigation, while the DOE did not respond to inquiries. This situation raises critical questions about the integrity of climate science and the transparency of governmental processes. As the debate continues, it invites a broader discussion. How should we balance political agendas with scientific truth? Are we witnessing a dangerous trend of rewriting established science for political gain? We encourage you to share your thoughts and engage in this important conversation.